Welcome back, everyone. 皆さん、お帰りなさい。今日は134日目です。It is day 134. I believe today we're going to get lessons. Probably partial lessons. I think. If not all of them, possibly. No, I think a couple of them are going to be in this group. But yeah, a time like the present. I think yesterday, largely fine. Didn't have any really big things show up. So let's get into our reviews and lessons today. Okay. Excellent start, as in drawing a blank. How does this work? This is one of the onyomi situations, right? For the right one. And oh,
Uketsuke.
Uketsuke. What? Oh, is it
Monogatari.
Monogatari? Mm-mm-mm.
Kai.
I
追いつく。
追いつく。
短期。
短期。What? Oh,
苦手。
苦手。
本物。
本物。本物。 Main book things? Main things? これはこのレタスもしまたして本物なのmain books what could be constituted as alright, well this doesn't come up, so let's do main plus things. 本物 take a bit. Not that route. Don't use that route. It's a living thing or like a real thing, and I don't remember. Oh, genuine. Okay, article. Serious thing. A real thing is a real thing, aka the real deal. If you book, you can think of it as a book thing, which is what is this book thing? It's the real version of the book. Yeah, so real thing. That one's a problem. That one's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna think of it more like the genuine article. I think genuine article is probably more likely. The book is the genuine article, right?
彼ら
What did I type there?
入学試験
入学試験.
売り上げ
売り上げ. Bit off. Oh, sales. Right. Fair enough. Missing S.
使い方
使い方. Oh. How am I? Wait. Uh-oh.
手伝う
It's Dao. Like, how am I typing that incorrectly? That's not it. Oh boy. Oh boy. I forgot to move one of the chat boxes. Hold up. Alright, that's better. So which one is this? Oh, this one's weak too. So we have like what? Lax plus Q. Oh, I think I got this. Fine.
書く
Kaku. And oh. What? Oh, it's the transitive form. No. It's okay. Semantics without context.
Matsuri.
I don't think no.
次回
Okay. Really? Oh. I was thinking of this actually. Oh no, Chinese. Oh no. What? Wait. No. I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, this will work. Wow, today is rough, man. What is going on? I either am constantly making a typo or I'm thinking of the wrong character. Is that thing... Decide, determine? Oh. Oh, I wrote the wrong thing.
決定する
I wrote the wrong thing. That's fine, I guess. I gotta lock in. Today's rough.
Tama. 都会
Okay. Okay.
Migoto
Igoto. Yeah. So. Oh, it's yes.
太陽
Ayo.
Urite
Ite.
生物学
Eibutsugaku. Alright, we're getting into it again. My mind is filled with clear up scare stuff for later. Okay. What? Oh, that's a typo.
発売中
Baichu. Atsubaichu. Ne? That's fine. That's close enough. On sale now. Or for sale. For sale now. Etc.
気持ち
Multi. What? Oh.
別れる
Wakareru.
共有する
追いかける
Keru.
野球
You.
陽気
Yoki.
第2章
第二章
最新
最新
育てる
育てる
僕
僕 Boku. Okay. Alright. Oh boy. Old. Old.
欠かす
Akasu. Oh wait. To do without or to be without? Yeah. Go away. Oh no, Chinese. No. Okay, okay, wait. Okay. It went straight to the Kun, but I guess we could try. No. Okay. It started with Onyomi. The heck is... No, this is weak. I don't know. Low. What is low? What do we have? We have leader, ground. A leader, ground, and people. People. So low, leader, plus ground, people. Uh, think. Brown people. Tater tots. So tater tots, te. Yes. And the leader of your clan wants to live close to the ground, so he demands you get low, low, low with your belly. You know, no, that doesn't help. That's not great. Low people like you can only eat foods like potatoes, but that's boring, so you learn how to make tater tots, yeah. Low ground, yep. Okay. That's actually kind of weak. I'm not entirely sure if we used oh, we have used saite. Oh, and those are the only vocabulary words. I would explain that. Why that's weak. Fine.
京都
Kyoto. Hitari kiki.
左利き
Oh, that's what I was getting it mixed up with. Okay.
心持ち
Koromochi. Oops.
少し
Skoshi.
期間
On.
Korobu
Korobu. I remember that one. Oh, it's a problem one.
Yusho
Yusho.
Kokumin
Kumin.
Niwa
Niwa.
Kaimono
Daimono.
Kuko
Uko. Uh-oh. No. Oh, the Chinese. Like, Hanzuhiro's overpowers this so much. Okay. Okay. Fine. It's overpowering because this is old and Hanzuhiro is new. So there's recency bias.
Hojisuru
Hojisuru. Oops. What? What? Hold up.
乗り場
Noriba.
Bungaku
Bungaku.
Saiyaku
Ayaku. Nani kore? Uh-oh. Oh, wait.
右利き、
右利き。Okay. What? Oh, wait. Oh.
深い
Okay.
Yasuri.
Yasuri. Oh, here we go. This is arakajime.
あらかじめ
Ekin arakajime. Yeah, we've talked about this quite many times.
彼氏、
Kareshi. Huh. This is kind of weak too. So, what are we gonna do? We have Tess plus Sue. Gotta test something. And there might be a mnemonic to pull out. Or try. Attempt. What am I? Oh, no. I'm good. I'm good. This one's fine. Pretty sure is let me see.
試す、
都市
Oshi. It helps a lot when I'm typing in my notes. I'm like, all right. Well, I can't jump right to it, but I can break down the things, write it on a piece of paper, write it on a piece of like Word document, and then sort out my thoughts. The moment I wrote it, I'm like, oh, okay.
Megami
Megami. The heck is wait. Oh. Oops.
金持ち
Kanemochi.
離れる
Hanareru. Nope.
深夜
Inya. I'm like deep night.
比べる、
比べる。
寒い、
寒い。
転がす、
転がす。
中指、
中指。or ocean.
帰る、
帰る。I guess to be exchanged. Or it's like to be returned. Oh jeez, how do I say this? I mean, can I go with to be returned? I can go with to be returned. What else do they to come back? I see. I'm like, how else are you gonna phrase this? I was trying to make return into the intransitive. And I'm like, might as well just stick with Japanese feel in that case. How do I... Wait, what am I sending? No, that doesn't sound right. Oh. No. No, that's not it. I want to say it's this, but oh no. Okay, let's break this down. This is a problem. Let's see. Oh, see, send plus do. And it's to send off or to see off. That help. I really just want to type this.
見送る、
It's that. I don't know what it is, but it is that. When I see that character, I think this is fine. I don't remember any mnemonics or anything with this, but it's miokuru. There's a few of these types of words. I mean, yeah. Of course there are a few of types of these words. But no, that's not the reason why. If you're saying that because you think I'm getting some of these words confused, but that's not it. But yes, there are a lot of these types of words to see someone off. Let's see. What kind of mnemonics did they use for this? Oh, they used okuru and miru as, yep, that's not great. Let's go with let's look at okuru's thing. What did they use for to send something? An oak tree. That would explain why I don't remember any of that. You need to send an entire oak tree in the mail, but it's too big. Imagine yourself dragging one. You just meant the me plus... Yep. I imagine. There's quite a lot of compound verbs like that. I know exactly what you mean too. Yes. That would be related to that. Didn't mean anything by it, just find it interesting. I see. Yeah, compound verbs to see off, to see, yeah, there's quite a lot of compound verbs with to see. Yep. I think if I had to take a wager on the compound verbs, it's because Chinese use those compound verbs far more frequently. And you can't do see off without the compound verbs in Chinese. Actually, I think miokuru is one of them. If you combine jian song, jian song is probably to see off too, or maybe the other direction. But yeah, compound verbs. I'm not sure. Is there a non-compound verb for seeing off? Can I think of one? A non-compound verb that means to see off. I guess you could use a different thing, like to farewell. Nah, to farewell is too off of it. That's an interesting question too. I don't think I know of a Japanese verb, like a non-compound verb, that expresses this. Is this gonna be a problem? I think okuru is gonna be okuru. I'm not gonna remember oak tree. That's not happening. We're just gonna rely on the old noggin. That's gonna go into our rote memory catalog. Now I'm kind of curious. Hold up. Isho to send off. What else we got? No, there isn't an expression for that. They're all compound verbs. Yeah. Ah, tsumidasu. Tsumidasu is pretty good. And then sashishikawasu. I'm actually not familiar with that one. Sashishikawasu. Yeah, I don't know of anything. And in Chinese, it's always compounded like that. Or in Chinese, this is the norm. Like these things are norms right here, where you take two words to mean something, and then Japanese has the convenience of, or the extra, whether it's convenient or not is up to the user, but has the extra kana. Okay. Where are we going here? We have this one's special. Another one of those special, that's why they're coming up out of order. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think kana is I'm more of a, I like explicit stuff. So kana to me the extra kana that Japanese have written is convenient to me. It was also a crutch for you when you started learning Japanese because you were scared of kanji. Uh, as a background, I'm used to not seeing kana most of the time because the Chinese power overpowers is quite overpowering. But I like that this system. I really appreciate this system. In fact, I appreciate this system so much so that I kind of feel like English needs a little help. Maybe not kana, but use some sort of accent mark or a second layer accent mark. That'd be kind of funny. Um, it ends up some people can look at it as a crutch, right? Like it's very helpful, but at the same time, it also is. Other people will say like, well, if you don't need to use it, then you can remove it, and then that's what happens with like English and actually even Japanese. Even Japanese, where they're like, you know it now, so you don't need the punctuation. Like for example, in Japanese, you drop the O particle. The O particle gets dropped all the time because it's like, well, you know it. So you just cut it out. So I totally understand if you know a language really well, you want to like cut down on having to do these things. But at the same time, learning them, it's like, yeah, I'm glad. Well, it's nice. It's nice here, and then we can lean in. But man, English, like, oh, hey, oh, you mean, did you say you're going to? Oh, here's a word that I would use since I'm usually language learning. The word teach. Recently, a younger fellow that I know who's going through school, and so he's learning like multiple languages at the same time because of the country he resides in. He abbreviated the English word teach to teach. But the thing is, in the sentence, I had to read the sentence multiple times because I didn't know. At first, I'm like, okay, this sounds like teach, right? If you do like teach, right? But then in the sentence, I'm like, wait, is this like a noun or is this a verb? I'm like, okay, so it could be a noun. Okay, it's a noun. But the thing is, teach, like Chinese, this is a Chinese situation because this person also is Malay, so he knows Chinese. And the thing about Chinese is the word he was using was actually teaching. And then teaching in English can be both a noun and a verb because it's also a noun. It's a verb. It's a noun verb. So what happens in Chinese is you don't do any of that. Like, but in Japanese you do. In Japanese you have kana that can offset the conjugation of verbs. So it's part of the practice. And so does English. But then there's Chinese, and then you have like, okay, I read it and I'm like, oh, that seems normal to me. But at the same time, my English side was like, okay. And this isn't dealing with pronunciation, but this is also dealing with like what kana functions. There's quite a lot of functions to kana, and one of them is conjugation. And Chinese does not have any conjugation. So it's fun. It's kind of fun to watch this person like abbreviate and use like English slang terms and like abbreviations in a different way. And my parents do this all the time too. When they try to imitate or construct English, they didn't learn English at all. Yeah. Chinese is super context-based. If you like Japanese because they're context-based, right? If you're going from English to Japanese and you like that context-based, like once you know the words, you don't have to like write more or like do more because you learned the language, then yeah, Chinese is even more context-based than Japanese. So I kind of like Japanese because it's kind of like in the middle. So I started with Japanese. And then I started reading Chinese because I'm illiterate in Chinese. I have basis for grammar, but we're not really talking about grammar here. We're talking about the writing, like reading the writing. And going from there, it's like you got the different levels. And then I started Spanish recently, which is like the opposite. It goes the opposite way, where like it's on the, I would say, like Spanish, English, when it comes to like context, right? Spanish, English, Japanese, then Chinese, where how quote unquote fast or lazy can you get? And Chinese, there's no conjugation. No, the other three has conjugation, some form of conjugation. In Chinese, absolutely no conjugation. And because of that, the context is very formulaic. So if it sounds like whenever you're listening to Chinese, it sounds like people keep saying the same thing over and over again, it's because they kind of are saying the same thing over and over again in a precise or in a prescribed order, because you need the context to know what the rest of the words mean. Like when something happens, it has to go first, or it's earlier, because then you would know what comes after either happened now or yesterday or tomorrow. In Japanese, conveniently, it's actually it's conveniently in the same place. In Spanish, it can be in the beginning at the end. In English, it can be at the beginning at the end, and I'm like, oh, okay. It's like, oh yeah, I had a, because of helping verbs, right? I had a great time yesterday. So you don't have to say yesterday I had a great time, because had is already in the past tense. But in Chinese, it would be like, I have good day yesterday, or yesterday I have good day. It doesn't change. It's have. It's always have. There's not, and the only context you have is the amount of time. Or like if you're standing here and like, I lift this box, it, since you see the person have lifted the box, then it is lifted. Being able to conjugate everything in Japanese is cool. I agree. And like nouns, yes, yeah, they conjugate everything. And then of course, then like Spanish is knocking at the door and say, well, you didn't conjugate for gender in plural. and then Spanish would say like, hey, where's the agreement on the article? You're not using definite or indefinite article. What's wrong with you? So I think learning multiple languages is a lot of fun, and Japanese definitely has certain things, and then it kind of just reminds me, oh yeah, Spanish. And then the other thing, why Spanish, for example, Spanish pronunciation keys are very similar to Japanese pronunciation keys. So then you have like you have your hands full enough with Japanese. Fair enough. I appreciate, can't imagine also learning Chinese and Spanish. You probably are far more along with Japanese than I am, but they're related. So like, I'm not saying that they're perfectly related, obviously. These are the languages I grew up with, so I might be a little biased, but it wouldn't be surprising when you like get well command of Japanese that you pretty much feel at home if you already know English or Spanish. And then you probably feel at home eventually, because Chinese is like, it's so hard to look at this stuff without already studying, practicing Chinese. Like, if you ever, I'm not plugging, I'm not trying to peer pressure you into either, but I look, the way I'm juggling the languages is to like make them part of each other. So I can't help but think of Spanish and Chinese in the context of Japanese and whatnot. But I think you'd be surprised how probably easier it is than you might think with your Japanese skills to learn Chinese. And then you can combine the Japanese and the English for Spanish. Obviously, what are the unique properties? A lot of people focus on like the unique properties that are hard to grasp, but since all the other stuff are familiar, you don't have to invest any time in that. So in Spanish, you're probably looking at gender plurality, because if you're already conjugating in Japanese, you're probably going to be thinking about that all the time in Spanish, because the conjugation system is familiarly, like, it's very parallel to Japanese. It's the endings and then the initials, the finals, initials and finals. And then the other form of like contextual conjugation is to add a modifier phrase onto it. So it's kind of like adding a kanji phrase onto or not a kanji, a kana phrase ending onto a existing kanji. Only, in Spanish they use the same letters, right? It's the same Roman characters, but you can break it up like that. You're like, oh, okay, this is the ending. So you've been doing this all the time in Japanese. In Spanish, it's all the endings too. Only it's a little bit more nebulous because now you're using the same thing. And in Chinese, you try to forget all of that. or you refrain from doing it. So, and you're already conditioned, so you're doing less in Chinese, which is funny. Like, you get your both ways. Like, if you're thinking, oh, I need to conjugate in Chinese, you don't. It's the same thing. And here's another, I'm gonna plug a little bit more about Chinese. 85 to 90% of it, they're single reads. So it's almost like you go from, oh man, which one is this? Onyomi or kunyomi? The answer is it's always onyomi. It's always onyomi. So when you're like studying your Japanese, you're like, no more of that. 85% of the time, and the other 15% are because the other 15% are super common. So when they're super common, they're also easy to remember that they have double meanings. Yeah, double reads. That does make things a lot bit simpler. Yeah, I know. So if you learn Japanese, there are so many things that kinda, in my opinion, personally, I know that I'm not sure how many languages, like if you're a multilingual background or multicultural, but you probably heard this cliche before, or people are curious. If you learn your second language, how does that translate to your aptitude in your third language? Well, in my personal opinion, Japanese primes you for a lot of routines, like thinking routines that are very, very appropriate for Chinese and Spanish, assuming or making the assumption that English and Japanese are the 1 and 2, or the reverse. Because you either find out that you don't have to do it anymore and it's a relief, or you've been doing it for for a while and it's fine. I'm not sure if this translates the same to like other things, but for Spanish, it's probably gender and plural is the new concept, gender plural articles. And then for Chinese, it's tonality, so it's largely dealing with the speaking side of things, tonality. And then we have Japanese and English, which is, we are aware of the stuff. You're Danish, but you don't really put an effort to learn English, so I would say Japanese is the second language you've tried to learn. Why so you're still learning Japanese, right? Since you said you've tried to learn. Okay. I wasn't sure if you meant like in the past tense, like now you're not learning. Interesting. A Danish. I feel like I think you might be the current Danish representative. I know. Oh, maybe your English isn't as good as you thought after all. No. This is an English problem. And what I mean by that is, English is ambiguous, right? Like, wait, how would we express that? Is there a way in Japanese to say, in Japanese, for example, when we use tried, you can say it as though you tried as in you started, right? You started versus as in you start and it continues, right? Right, it's you start it once and it continues, so it still exists now. The word tried in English doesn't distinguish between that. So it's either you tried and you continue, or you tried and you stopped. Which that's why, like, this is the English. It's a natural, and in my opinion, this is a natural ambiguity in English, which you know it if you don't. So I usually ask most of the time. I think in Japanese you can. What would you use? You would probably use present progressive. So you would use which then is understood that when you start something, you're continuing to do it. And then there's a way to say that you started something but you stopped, as in it's a one-time deal thing. And I don't remember, unfortunately. Like I off the top of my head, I'm still working on that type of thing, where how to express that you started something and you're continuing to do it, or you started something and it only happened then, as in you started it and now it's done with. I don't remember what the difference, how to do that anymore. In English, you would have to explain all that. Like, oh, hey, I started learning Japanese, and I am currently still learning Japanese. But that I don't think English is English. Yeah, I'm not sure how to say that either. I remember it's an importance though. It's a thing you have to remember in Japanese grammar, where you have to there's a nuance between using a verb in a specific way where it insists that it's still happening, or it defaults to something. And I think in English it's ambiguous. You mostly focus on input, so your output is pretty bad. Oh, that's perfectly fine, right? Are you like watching anime and manga and like Japanese content in general? Are you enthusiastic about Japanese culture? I'm also not outputting that much, really. I actually, most of my evenings now are watching One Piece. Like, after I reached a specific amount of input, I just started watching One Piece because there's a lot of it. So like 4 months ago, I started watching One Piece, and I'm like on episode 851 or something. You're mainly learning through games and visual novels. Me too. Or me too, as in I plan on doing that. Right now I watch anime, but soon I already watch anime and I already play video games. The idea is eventually I will do that, and I will probably play video games here. Because you can, but you can't stream anime because then you'll get slapped by the copyright world. So, but I watch anime for the time being. Speaking of visual novel games, you can most definitely watch the anime for Clannad and Steins Gate, and also play the visual novel game Clannad and Steins Gate to like compare written and stuff. You love Clannad? Yeah, me too. And then Steins Gate would be the other one. And there are both the Steins Gate series, Steins Gate 0 and original Steins Gate, are available on PC as a visual novel game. You want to play Steins Gate when your Japanese is a little bit better? I totally agree. My a couple, like, I've watched Steins Gate a while ago before I started learning how to read and listen to Japanese, and some of my friends were good. I rewatch it, and I watch like I watch some of my scenes on YouTube, like the scenes that I remember. It is There's a lot of vocabulary, and then I like read the subtitles like I but it's kind of fun on the video game side of things because the text, right? The text is static, so you could do like sentence mining, something like that. But yes, I do agree with the whole Steins Gate because it's a science paranormal series. Although you do pick up some of the weird ones all the time. Yeah, you do that with other VNs. I see. Like, um, like, yeah, mining. I understand. Yep, that it's a really effective tool when you yourself already enjoys doing the thing, and um, and we have so many tools nowadays. Like, I'm saying this because I'm a boomer. Like when it comes to these things, okay? So we have so many tools now that kids, like, or not kids, but I'm not talking about like people younger than me are commonly using that I'm only using now because I haven't really ever done it this way. So like Anki and whatnot, those things, they're so convenient. Back in the day, I skipped over doing that. So I use things like like word associations and story prompts and like creative writing ways to create memory tools. But nowadays it's like, oh, right click, scan, put it in here, and that thing keeps a track of all your things. Like SRS in general, like WaniKani here, is far more developed than far more developed in this mechanical way of use that I find very refreshing. And the reason why I say I'm a boomer is because I've never done that before. Like some people, like maybe perhaps even you, and others who stop by, it's like, no, don't use this tool. It's like not useful. Like use this even more flexible maintaining tool. I'm like, dude, all of these tools are convenient. Like I didn't grow up with any of these tools. Like I actually am having a blast even knowing that these tools exist. Like some people like, dude, Duolingo is weak sauce. Like it doesn't do anything. Like I'm like, it does all the things I don't do to learn. Like I haven't ever used things like this. So I've been exploring how edgy technology and how different technology has made languaging. Yeah, even compared to 10 years ago. I know, right? I hear me out. Someone told me like, oh yeah, all the kids do this. Like you might as well just use this tool and this tool. I'm like, isn't that how you learned Spanish in high school? I'm like, boy, do you know how Spanish is taught like 20 years ago in the United States? You had a teacher. And textbooks that aren't even made in the region. It's distributed from Spain. So you have a Latina high school teacher who says certain things and pronounce certain things, and then you read a textbook and it has a CD. It has a physical CD where you put it in your possible computer that has a CD-ROM drive, which by the way is not standard yet. So you hope you have something that plays the CD and installs the CD. And we're not even talking about music CDs. Music CDs are different from software CDs. You needed something that can read the software CD. So you like plug it in and you're like, oh, they're all speaking like Spain Spanish. It's like, oh, okay, that's really tough. So the only time you actually am physically and able to intellectually learn a thing is you're looking at a book and you're pretending like you know how it sounds, and then you go ask your teacher. So this day and age, I'm having a blast. I don't know there over the last like year or two, there are lots of cynicism and lots of like people saying this is better, this is better. It's like they're all really useful. Like I don't see I mean I maintained my language through something without the convenience. So it's still really cool that we have video games. Like you can I mean, I would not be surprised at the cutting edge of things. There is an extractor for all the video games. Is there? I don't know if you don't. Yeah, you don't see the point of bickering about learning methods. Yeah, I don't either. Use them all. Do like if you get tired of one, go use the next one. Like you got to keep yourself engaged. Like if there's one thing that I'm sure the Gen Alphas of today would agree with a boomer like me, you know, a millennial like me, is that instead of thinking about what not to use, focus on all the things you could use, because as far as I know, you have to be engaged. Like the internet has made you so high functioning that you got to stay engaged. So instead of removing options for learning, continue to keep adding more and more options. Like grab more options. Like if this is less efficient, that doesn't matter. It's different. Grab it, because you need the attention. Like you need the, in my opinion, people require or normalize the engagement. So if you get tired of one, go grab another one. Don't worry about optimization and maximalization. You grab things that engage you and you keep consuming, because behaviorally, much like video games these days, TV shows, everything I can think of prior to the internet age is hyper-consumerism. So like for example, back in I don't know how old you are, Stefan, but back in my day, you have to wait for video games to come out. Like you might be thinking, wait, but we still wait for video games. No. You have to wait for the only choice in video games to come out. We're not talking about you have to wait for the game you choose that you want to come out. Meanwhile, there's a new game every day being released. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you have to wait for you're 34, so yeah, okay. Yeah. So that's one of those things, like when it comes to learning, do all of it. If you get tired of one, go do the next thing. Like I understand that a lot of people worry about, oh, is this the best way? It's like it's a way if it keeps you learning. Because even if it's the best way and it makes you stop and then you like hate it and you don't want to go back, it doesn't matter how good the method is. If it stops you from showing up and learning, then that's a shame. So when people say don't use this because it's inefficient, but like millions of people are hooked on it, then that's a source. Use all of them. Like, hope you can, because learning takes a lot of engagement. Yeah, you extract text from video games so you can look up words fast, if that's what you're asking. Okay. So there is a extraction method for video games. That's pretty cool. Like you can't do that. Like what would I do back in the day? I would probably put in a Japanese copy of Final Fantasy, right? Now this involves buying or exporting or something of a Japanese region PlayStation and or like a Japanese console, right? And then that console has to be able to get a region locked copy of Final Fantasy, and then you have to put that in there, and then you have to like make sure the region lock isn't on, like there's no conflict in region lock. Then you go to your bookstore, your stationery store, go buy a notebook, and then you write down all the words. Then you have to go to your public library and you hope your public library has a Japanese dictionary, right? Or go to a bookstore and find a Japanese dictionary. Then you sit there and each day looking through the dictionary and writing in a notebook. That's probably the quickest way to do sentence mining today, or like back in the day. And now you're just like, yeah, you know what? I could probably download someone's workflow, right? You can download someone's workflow, and they would do it all at once. You just feed it. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if someone already extracted all of this. You hit L2 and the text shows up in your browser on your second monitor, and then hover over it and you can see the meaning plus click to add to Anki. It's absurd. Like, by the way, I'm gonna try to do a lot of this in the future. So I'm starting on like baby wheels. When everyone is doing the like the Pleco like, or the Boom Pro like integrations, while like having navigations and the front end stuff where like there's a pop-up directly on your anime, and then like the subtitles itself it's integrating with the plugin. I'm not even close to that. Like, maybe I don't even have to use those things by the time I get to that point, but it's a lot of fun exploring how people are learning. I don't know if you can post links, but you have a resource to bookmark. Oh, okay. Sure. No, you can post a link. I don't think Twitch has anything by default. Let me see. I see. Oh, okay. I will have to look at that in the future. Interesting. Huh. Turn life into a game. Excellent. Thank you for the share. I think that's so many ways. By the way, that's kind of the goal that I'm doing now. It's not this isn't quite showing everything, but every year maybe, or say like every month, every couple months, or every year, I'm basically exploring learning Japanese or different languages, but using like just any different methods that I haven't used when I was younger. And going over the basics or whatever, that's perfectly fine. If they can sync progress with stuff, that's fine too. But this is how I interact with the Japanese language. Every day is fun because you're giving time to engaging in something that didn't get old yet, and that's neat. How all of this. Here's another one that I think I would use because I already use all the tools. So in Steam, right? In Steam, you can just hit what is it? F12 to screenshot, right? So I have enough sort of programming chops where I can feed Steam, extract Steam screenshots, and those screenshots can be filtered through Google Lens and then auto-translated back as a transcript into a document file, and I could just read the document file. That's like such a boomer version workaround and jerry rig of what these things are doing before as well, because I use Steam all the time. I'm like, oh, this is interesting, screenshot, I'll remember later. So when I'm playing and I'm like, oh, this is cool, screenshot, and then I'll just think about it later, and then I filter it through a workflow, and then get the stuff done that way. But I'm sure someone has already scripted, plugged in all of this, and then even had like a front-end UI on top, like a GUI, placed on a GUI at some point. Technology, man, technology. It's a beautiful world. I still don't mind doing like writing down notebook and use Share X with something called OWOCR, which also uses Google Lens. I see. Yeah. Since Sensuku to do what? Okay, exactly. Yeah, there's so many ways. There are so many ways to create workflow. And hear me out here. I'm not here to demonstrate that I understand Japanese, by the way. Learning Japanese is cool. I like learning Japanese and Chinese and Spanish. It's not my primary goal. My primary goal is to learn how to tackle learning. So, the way you're talking about your methods and stuff, that is my favorite part about sharing learning experiences, because people who understand how they're getting it done are, in my opinion, those who have no limitations, as in your problem solvers. Like, how do you create your own workaround, or how to make your learning process more and more efficient over time, and then how to expand it over and over in time. So when you're saying ShareX, and I'm not even familiar with either of those, ShareX and OWOCR, yeah, you work around being lazy. Exactly. If you are lazy, you know how to solve it, right? But it's different from saying I am lazy and that is the excuse. I think that's, unfortunately, I think that's more of the motivation than being motivated to being proactive about your learning experience. Like, for some people, like, in my opinion, this is my gleam, a lot of people, they're asking to be lazy. Like, what tools are there where I don't have to commit any of the work to making it work, right? There's a difference between, you're lazy, now how do I make it work? And technically, in my opinion, I don't think you're being lazy, because you clearly understand how you're getting your information. A lot of people would say, oh, this tool works, and I would ask them, how does it work? And they would be like, you just follow whatever it says. That is very different from someone who's like, oh, okay, oh, that's the way you do it, here's the way I do it. And it's all leading to that one goal. But the thing is, the world has so many technologies now. You can get to the same endpoint in a very different way, or a synonymous way, or even identical way, but using different tools. And that's where I do feel that when people bicker about what's the best tool, that's different from a person who's using tools, and many tools, to get to what they want. Because usually it's, nah, all of them work. I'll just take this and take this and take this, and then we'll just slam it together, and that's kind of the fun thing. So learning about learning can be involved in technology as well. Like, some people say, oh, I just use Anki to learn Japanese. I'm like, okay, so what does Anki do for you? Because there are probably a lot of different ways that can look. Like pulling up a notebook, or exporting WaniKani's progress to Anki or something. There are other ways to integrate Anki. Like, you can settle on Anki for a while, but over time I would add more, I would do more, I would change up more, and it keeps me active. So ironically, in my opinion, when you're already talking about, okay, I can see a use case for this, in fact, I don't think you're being lazy. That is my emphasis on being invested in your learning process, and not necessarily just the context or the goal of acquiring Japanese. If you are active in your learning process, that stuff is applicable to any time you learn. So in the future, when you're like, I'm not learning Japanese anymore, how do I pick up, I don't know, Godot or video game programming? Oh wait, okay, so I need to get to this point. Here are all these tools. Let me go look for, I need something that can do this. So let's go find something that can do this, and then we'll add it in stepwise to this. And that is pretty much why I like using language learning as a platform, because I write on the screen all the time. Those processes could be done automatically by another tool, but I can choose when and where to do that. And that's what's so amazing in this technological world we live in now. You can do so much more than being confined to the tool. So like Google Lens, I'm not sure if Google is like, yo, like for me, I would advertise Google Lens as a translation tool. I'm just saying, but that's not what Google Lens was advertised for being used. But I saw it as an opportunity to use Google Lens as because my background and my parents, like the whole Google Lens thing was the consequence of allowing my parents to be able to use their phones to read English labels because they can't. So all the time that I've used to jerry-rig Google Lens is because that tool has a functionality that could be used for something that even Google might not have seen as a primary use case. You hope they'll let us keep using it for a while. Almost seems too good to be true. I know, right? I know. Are you afraid when like here's the dystopian world coming, right? The cynicism of dystopian world. Imagine having to just subscribe to Google Lens when it becomes too popular. Or it just isn't popular enough and they kill off the product. Yes, that does happen. Yes, for sure. Google Lens is amazing. I think originally a lot of people are ho-hum about it. Like I'm talking about ho-hum in the sense of it doesn't meet the large tech standard, but it is an asset when it comes to language learning. Holy heck, it is such an asset. Like Discord coincidentally interfaces really well with Google Lens. Like for example, when someone shows you a screenshot, it's like, hey, what does this mean? You click on Discord and you click open in browser and Lens is already available. Like it's so streamlined. You use left click and right click to get to a translation when from Discord, and Discord, is now most of the time where your screenshots and stuff are coming from. So when you're like operating on a language learning Discord or something, people just send screenshots. You click on it, you open it in your browser, and you Google Lens. It's astonishing. And not only that, it brings up all related resource material and stuff, and you can even input it as a search result. That's crazy. Like I can't believe how much more utility that I've gotten out of technology that seemed to be lukewarm for people who don't want to use it. Like, it's not that they're missing out. I don't want to make it sound like they're missing out. It's just not important to them, right? But when it comes to language learning, it's incredible. I think Google Lens is absolutely incredible. It's one of those things where you can just set up a Discord and you can learn quite a lot from other language learners sending screenshots and then creating a opportunity to go back and forth and looking at common things that come up while learning a language. And then Google Lens and browser tools can augment that really substantially, and it solidifies lots of information. Like I still remember my conversation which I shared today about this thing. In fact, this was not even the issue. This person they were talking about the phrase this. Oops. Doshao. Doshao means how many, or kakaru. Kakaru, more or less. This would be pretty equivalent to kakaru in Japanese. It's often placed at the end, or cuantas for Spanish. And it was met with something because of its attachment to a phone number. 电话, which is also 電話 in Japanese, phone number. And you don't typically, or some people mostly, you don't quantify a phone number. You ask a series of numbers. So you say what is, like Like I actually, what would you say in Japanese? What is? So you wouldn't say like the amount. You wouldn't use kakaru with denwa bango, right? Denwa bango. So that was it. But all of this came out because it's in Discord. So now when you're talking and making comments about language, you have so many ways to interact with all the languages. It's been really incredible time. It's incredible. It's incredibly powerful. You haven't had it not recognize a kanji in a game yet. That's crazy. And I'm gonna try to do that as well, like live. Like I don't know how I'm gonna display it, but sometime down the road when I'm still I'm still working on foundational vocabulary and whatnot, but sometime down the road, yeah, we're good. I'm basically while I'm waiting for the next series in the game, like the Like a Dragon series, which by the way, if it's my personal plug, but the last thing that encouraged me to both learn Chinese and Japanese is I'm waiting on Japanese video games. So yes, totally, but it's more for like a project oriented thing. Time is the problem. But Like a Dragon series, as a plug, you can play Like a Dragon series in English, Japanese, and Chinese. So all three of those have almost their entire catalog of the runtime of the game with Japanese, Chinese, and English audio that you can pair up, not only extracting the texts and all that, but all the casual conversations are all vocalized and performed in all three languages with excellent fidelity. And that series, the series by Sega, the Like a Dragon series, deal with modern times. You prefer slower paced games so you can make sure you don't miss anything. So I'm the Japanese, Chinese, and thing. We're talking about the JRPG games. So they are very slow paced, and most of the content and stuff is dealing with slice of life things. So like your members of your character cast talk about like food and pop culture and watching TV and getting up at night and stuff. Those are all audio. So all of that stuff, like we're talking about 30 hours on top of its gaming premise, are all about slice of life things. And you can extract all of that text and you can hear all of that text. So that's something that visual novel games do really, really well, right? Because visual novel games have concordant, but now you have more. Like you have, if you enjoy the games, obviously, if you enjoy the games, but visual novel, it doesn't necessarily have to end at visual novel. But I haven't encountered many games like, obviously, like recently, I'm not learning French, but recently Claire Obscure, which is the game that I'm currently working on, I'm just listening to the French dub. Like there's something about listening to things in a different language that feels very different now. So and the way I've come to associate feeling of language is often I play something in English or in something that's comprehensible to me, and then I would play the game again to establish a sentimental feel for all the things. And that's what I used to do in Japanese, like before being literate or to some reason focus on those things. You can still feel all of the Japanese things, largely because I watch Japanese things also in English. So there's always a reference, even though I'm not studying the actual vocabulary. Nowadays, though, if like the learning process is so rewarding now because that feeling has literal characters and sound to it, and it feels great. Lack of a better word, but being able to speak a little bit, is anything. 少し, It's just a few. Throw in a word every once in a while, you know. And throw in a word every once in a while. 日本語 right? 日本語少し日本語を読みました。Something like that. I read a few Japanese, a little bit. Anyways, thanks for sharing what you're doing. How long have you been working on this, by the way, Stefan? How long have you been going with your Japanese stuff? And what are you currently working on? What are you currently enjoying at the moment? I think my next thing is we're gonna go down. It took me like half a year to cover the Lucky Dragon series, but I think the next one is probably either going to be the Persona catalog. We're probably going to do the Persona catalog eventually, and then by the time the Persona catalog is exhausted, it's probably going to be the Final Fantasy VII trilogy. So that's probably where I'm gonna. You started learning 10 years ago or something, but got away from it, and then you started again a year ago. Nice. 34. You are. How does it feel to be above average, or is it below average? How would we phrase it? How does it feel to be part of the older age group that is unlikely to learn another language? To start to learn. I'm 38 to be a comparison. I belong to the same like subgroup of people who would like actively pick up another language. The older you get, obviously the statistics dive. The older you get, with each like bracket bin of 10 age groups, the chances of starting another language nosedives. And this is not because you're incapable or anything like that. It's more like statistics, like population statistics. The older you grow, the older you get in each bracket, the odds of starting or deciding to maintain another language goes off the cliff. And you have been doing Anki immersion every day since. Nice. Consistency. It's a working learning method. What I mean is the consistency is built on a foundation of working learning methods. If you're able to consistently do it every day, it might as well become a lifestyle choice, right? This is a lifestyle choice for me. So I don't see it as something that I have to do to get to something. I see it as I do this because it's part of my routine. Like, this is not something I have to do. Like, what I mean is I must do for something else. This is something I have to do because it's part of my daily routine. Instead of throwing back, or like, you couldn't do what I'm doing. What's wrong with that? You don't mean that in a bad way? What's wrong? I imagine you can make it work. You think it's perfectly viable, but oh, you mean like the approach? But you don't have to do the approach, but you can totally do what I'm doing in the context of its purpose. So you can totally get up and share your experiences on how you would approach the thing and do that every single day. I think it would undermine a little bit of the overall message. Like, I won't be doing this the next year and the year after the next. I might not even be doing this after 6 months or 7 months. And I haven't been doing the same thing in the background. Like, what is available on stream is because I can stream these things without getting slapped with copyright. But what I've been doing in the background has changed substantially. And I try to cover most of these. So like next year, it's going to look different, right? Or in 6 months, my schedule is going to look different. Like I don't even want to tell you. I mean, by the way, all of this is recorded. Like, what I mean is, since I started my language learning, all of this stuff has been recorded, and it no longer looks like this. The last year when I started, it's not this. So it would be very difficult to know if what I'm doing now is going to be something I'm doing in 6 months' time, or even 6 months back. It will be very, very different. Largely because I stick with what I'm saying most of the time. You're changing it up. By the way, for the record, I'm not abandoning the things that I've learned from this. I'm taking whatever I feel can blend into the next thing. So, like, WaniKani isn't going to go anywhere figuratively. It is going to go somewhere literally. Like, Duolingo went somewhere literally. In fact, my Chinese course, the first thing I did was I completed the Duolingo Chinese course. And then all of my Hanzahiro experience is in the reference or the context of what I extracted from the Duolingo Chinese course. And then all the stuff that Hanzahiro doesn't do, I do in the background, extracted from the Duolingo course. So the idea is you go through lots of phases, and eventually you come out on a method that I'm not advertising for anyone. The idea, the most important principle here is you do things and you learn to learn doing those things. It's not prescribable, because the prescription is to do it. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. In my opinion, if you're enthusiastic and you stay motivated and you want to be invested in your learning, your method shouldn't look like anyone else's. In my opinion, the underlying principles would be the same, but the specificity and specifics, like the specificity of each of those steps and the way you achieve it, should not come from an identical template from someone else. Like, your Steins Gate is not my Steins Gate, for example, even when it's literally Steins Gate. The way you interact, at least I hope in the future, the way people interact with their tools and like their media and context shouldn't be like, oh, if everyone does this, it'll always work. There's usually individual variation. So I totally agree that whatever you're doing, I should say the same back, right? Whatever you're doing, keep at it, because you're being consistent. Does that, whatever you're doing, allow me to be consistent? We don't know, because I don't do it, right? And then, of course, much like you're saying you couldn't do what I'm doing, it's like, I don't expect you to be doing that. I hope that when you decide to do something and share your experiences, it would be the same. It would be like, what I mean by that is not the same as me, but the experience of being consistent in learning Japanese would be similar, but it would look different. Everything would look different. Like, how do you get your vocabulary? It's clearly not from WaniKani. At least I think. And then how would you get your immersion? Maybe you're watching the same identical multicultural couple that I'm watching. That would be a shock. But I typically get my immersion from watching multicultural couples talking in mixed language. So you tried the traditional study method of learning kanji meanings and radicals and onyomi and kunyomi, etc. I see. And it felt extremely overwhelming. I see. So you're talking about specifically like this thing, the Hay6 method, or an extension of the Hay6 method. Yeah, I don't actually use the Hay6 method too much. I use a different approach, but the tool here, like, they would be an extension of the Hay6 method, which is create mnemonics attached to radicals, and then radicals, like a bottom-up approach, right? The thing that you're talking about now can be summarized in the top-down approach. You take the native, you take the native like conglomerate and then you break them down into parts, as opposed to the other way around where you take the parts, which is a lot, and then you see the fruits of your labor as it's assembled into some sort of streamlined form. You stumble on immersion learning, which recommend to learn only the very basics and then jump into so top-down approach, and that makes sense, especially from an older perspective. When one becomes, in my opinion, when one becomes far more experienced, older, typically taking a top-down approach is a lot more approachable. I'm doing this to complement my top-down approach. I actually spend most of the time using top-down approach. So that's like forming associations and mnemonics in a complex way, largely due to immersion, context clues. So visual, audio, sequencing, right? Sequencing, and then antonym, like higher complex meanings associated in and then reinforced in multiple contexts at the same time, and then use whatever means a combination of them. Like you can pretend, you can maybe like filter out what they sound like because you already have sufficient context to learn that part. Even more complex than that, I use abstraction most of the time. So like here, you can use the prescribed methods. So in WaniKani, right, the idea is you use a breakdown, which is like this is leader and this is soldier or samurai for them. And for me, it's a higher, like it's even more complex than that. This actually represents both Hanzuhiro's, Kevin's mnemonic, and Koichi's mnemonic. And then I use my mnemonic of film on top of that. You do sometimes wish you had the solid basis something like this would give. Means to an end, right? I think for me, I like how comically complicated it is. So hear me out. Do you want, like, you piece things together through immersion learning, but it's a bit more vague? Yes, top down approach, right? Top down is how you piece together. You're nebulously making complex associations because in the older adult world, you already have formed those intuitions and complex interactions. You can do both technically if you want it, but it doesn't sound like this side of things, like the bottom up approach. It's kind of like I'll use science. My person that I've been talking to we talked about science, how emergent. You're talking about taking emergent properties and then breaking them down, as opposed to taking the components and then creating the overall thing. We typically use science between the two of us nowadays. So it's like if you ate the food, right? You know how it tastes. But do you want to explain all the parts that assemble to that taste? Well, in science, it's already difficult to reconstruct it. You can't reconstruct the taste because there's emergent properties that are very complex. So it can be easier a lot of times to remember how it tastes versus explaining what composes of that taste. So for example, when someone's chucking back a burger, if you ask someone who's interested in the culinary arts, they could explain to you the components of the burger that creates that overall taste. But it might not be relevant because you simply could adjust the context of the burger and acquire that taste, as opposed to knowing that your burger was flame boiled to like 312 degrees where it like triggers the Maillard effect. I'm making up like specifics that a lot of people use in content creation nowadays. It triggers the Maillard effect for specifically 16 seconds, and then that 16 seconds is contrast with the citric acid from your pickles, and then sprinkle on some onions to counteract the citric acid in your pickles, and then complement that with a slightly sweetened brioche bun that has confectioner sugar in it, or something, something absurd that is extra. You don't really require that. You were on a YouTube cooking video binge too. Yeah, the Maillard effect is something I would call this literally the top down, the bottom up, or the top down effect. When people use the word Maillard effect, is what happens when you have different levels of science, right? Different level of science, and it's kind of like using physics to explain chemistry and chemistry to explain biology. You enter where you're most immersed or relevant to you, and you can choose to either break them down further or some summation and make them more emergent. So in Japanese, your entry point is in between, and then you want to take that in between and go up, as in you're trying to find the emergence, which is execution of the Japanese language. And then at the execution of the Japanese language, you go down a little bit, but you're not concerned with what's happening at like the physics level, which is what their approach is. They take the elemental parts and eventually you try to reassemble the stuff, but it's kind of a mixed bag too. In this case, I take shortcuts. I combine top down, I meet in the middle. So I take the top-down approach when I'm not on stream, and I take the bottom-up approach, and I meet in the middle. So I discard a lot of things while going in between. It's whichever one gets me to the sufficient task. So I'm kind of, without a lack of a transparency, I'm more of a biologist than a chemist, and then I'm even more of a chemist than a physicist. So this is a fun activity. It's by far a lot of work, and one of the foundations of learning is if you're not engaged and you're not doing work, then oftentimes it's actually passive learning or passive exposure, and typically that doesn't lead to retention. So for me, yeah, I'm doing the extra work because it's fun. Like I like to hearing myself mumble like, okay, so we got a soldier, we got a samurai, and a leader. Clearly, the samurai leader is the leader of sheep. So she. And for me, being able to do that is a novelty. It's not necessarily practical, but it's fun creatively. Like what I mean is, how is this functional for me? I can draw an artwork for this. I can draw a samurai sheep for this character in the future because I also do artwork. So there are functional ways. So if you're creative enough, right? Like if you like to be creative, you don't have to only learn Japanese. You can embellish your artwork. You can embellish your storytelling. I would love to write an entire children's book for English learners who are learning Japanese using all of these radicals in their state. So like write an entire like 100-page children's book using all the radicals and then weaving them into a narrative. Or it could be a video game, and I haven't seen that yet, but I like to imagine that there's a video game in the future out there that would use that, like the story of the samurai sheep. And in that story of the samurai sheep, there's at one point this samurai sheep is returning a scooter to the shop, and that would be this character or this phrase, because this is returning because there's something wrong with the folding chair and the chair and the scooter. They're on a scooter. The scooter sucks. It's going backwards, so that's why you're returning it. That's at least that's a nebulous way of that I'm remembering this. Anyways, something like that. But yes, I totally agree with you. Not for everyone. It wasn't for me either. You'll be sure to wish list that? Maybe. I thought about making something in my 40s. I don't know if you reached that point in your life where you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna publish a book or something in my 40s. You know, your midlife crises projects, your legacy building. I've had like documents and stuff that I've written for board games for so long, and my thought is maybe in my 40s or maybe in my 40s or 50s I will release something just for the sheer fun of building a legacy. And you can too. I think you can too. I think most people should write at least a book, if not your memoirs, you know, a memento or something for yourself, your family, your future family, you know, something to leave a legacy behind. Record yourself doing something. It's thanks to technology, it's far more accessible than it's ever been to create some sort of legacy project. And this is probably one of the major reasons that I wanted to share this stuff. It's not perfect. It's not meant to be perfect. It's supposed to be beautiful in all of the right and wrong ways it can be. So that's probably what I mean when I say, of course you can do this, Stefan. You can totally do what I'm doing. Not literally, but figuratively. You can do this for sure. Doing this means a whole lot to the person themselves. You know, it develops pride, integrity, sort of reinvestments on your experience, at least in my opinion. Obviously, one also has to be mature enough and strong enough in their integrity and life that they are also at the mercy of other people's opinions. Yeah, it's been so rewarding, even though you're not near your goal yet. I know, right? That's great. That's a process-oriented person, if I ever seen one. When you find it rewarding so far, regardless of how close you are to the goal. I don't actually have a goal in mind for Japanese. Every goal is to complete a broadcast. Like each day, I record my session. That's the goal. And the intermediate goals in between is to improve the process over time. In like months at a time, and you know, every month or 100 days, we are changing up the process also slightly, and over time it looks different. Today you were able to understand the lyrics to one of your favorite songs. Oh, which one is that? Which one is that? What song are you listening to? Oh, okay, yoru ni kakeru. Very, very classic pick for the YOSOBI. I'm trying to think of if I even remember. I'm terrible with lyrics, so I'm not even sure if I can remember one lyric from it. That is a lot. Congrats. That is a lot. I was trying to think of which YOASOBI song it was. I habitually listen to YOASOBI along with like Zuto Mayo and Yorushika. Those are like clumped together for me. So if it's not YOASOBI, it's Yorushika and or Zutomayo. They're kind of like this specific smaller like a trendy group, trendy like combination of composer meets singer, female singer combination, you know, Ayase and Buna. for their respective groups. Ayase for Yoasobi and Enbuna for Yorushika. I think I'm pretty. Oh, here's a fun language learning thing. Yorushika just released they posted their new MV, the music video for their new song is Martian. And the video is literally Enbuna's character, right? Enbuna's avatar character dancing around with Martian written in many languages. Legitimately. It's like they're doing the Pixar thing where they're messing around with the words, but it's the whole video is just his like avatar, because they like to represent themselves like metaphorically in the music video. It's basically him running around, like dancing around, and then it's Martian in many different languages. I think it's hilarious, and it's so coincidental that I happen to love language learning right now, and they decide to do a video where it's just Martian, and some of the languages are really funny. Like you see them, it's like, oh, okay, you clearly know where the Martian part is, but what is this thing? And there's like red man, outer space man, like there's so many like different interpretations of Martian, and I think that's really cool for the recent one. So language learning related thing. Sheer coincidence though, absolute sheer coincidence. all right.
仕返し
Shikaishi. What are we doing? We're going back now. But thank you for the share. It's been really fun. Marsman in Danish. Oh yeah, you can tell me one in Danish. Not the most exciting. Yeah, Mars. I totally forgot what's Martian in 火星人 so Mars man. But if you break it down to the meaning 火星, you can probably know it in Japanese too. Like what I mean is from the Chinese you'll probably know the Japanese. So it's 火, so you already know 火. Xing ren. So in Japanese, you already know what this is too. Fire, star, which is still Mars, right? Kase, and then person, ren. So 火星人. So the fire star, which is Mars. Not exciting at first, but now it's exciting because you know Chinese technically by knowing Japanese. I'm just saying. So that's what I mean by I staggered Chinese because I wanted enough characters, kanji in Japanese, in order to overlap them. So now my Chinese and Japanese are roughly in the same place, but not overlapping. So now you either know the Japanese or the Chinese and it can augment each other. So there you go. Fire, star, Hoshi, right? Hoshi, Ka, or I think it's still Ka. That's the only read for this. And then, Hito, or Ren. Fun. It's mundane and it's not mundane at the same time, which is cool. Yep. I basically illustrated why I at least minimally learn Chinese and Japanese at the same time per day, because while it can create confusion, I like it. Like I need to try extra hard. It's like, oh no, the Chinese is in the way, but that's cool. I know the Chinese, but all right, where's the Japanese? I need to find the Japanese. And then when I'm on Hanza Hero, I'm like, oh no, I'm thinking of the Japanese because I just did Japanese, but at the same time, it's like they're eventually going to reinforce each other. It's very difficult to separate them. And in fact, these things still mean the same thing. So here's the thing. It's not that's another neat thing that you might not want as a as Japanese only. The components, the radicals, they are transferable. Like, what I mean is, I think maybe one of the things that are elevating, I think one of the practical reasons to want to break these down into different parts is if you're learning both Chinese and Japanese at the same time, they actually help each other. So that could be a thing. That might be a thing that makes me like slightly different from you when it comes to application of bottom-up approach. Like for this, it works both in Chinese and Japanese, and it can distinguish the nuance between the two over time. So it gives a little bit more granularity on how they can be executed. So that might be a thing. Obviously, because both of our goals are slightly different, right? But that's one of those things like, oh yeah, what is this? Like, this is a swing. So this part is a swing. And this part is a scooter. But it could also be a road. And this could be anti. So all of this stuff still feeds together in the same way. So there's so many ways to go about negotiating what the meaning of this. It does take some time, but I think it kind of fits with my personality, I suppose. I tend to love to overcomplicate things, so that's probably that's pretty good. I think the best way to summarize all of this or one of the more ideal ways to summarize all of this is, if you're smiling when you're talking about what you do to learn another language, and you're smiling and having fun despite it being confusing, hard, difficult, overly complicated, and you're still smiling and you're enthusiastically explaining this stuff to another person, in my opinion, there's no concern in my mind that you will succeed in your goal. That's like a quintessential ideal situation. When someone is smiling while saying how much they keep making mistakes and like struggling and whatnot, but they're saying it with a smile or with enthusiasm, that to me assures the problem solving. I'm talking to a problem solver and a critical thinker, not a person who's being shut down and hitting a wall. Someone who is smiling and enthusiastically talking about their mistakes and how they're going to go about solving it is someone not hitting a wall, right? Someone who's saying, oh man, like I have to do my studies today. Man, I heckin' hate doing the work or the school work and stuff. That is someone that's going to hit a wall, right? But if you're enthusiastically, constantly, still enthusiastic from day one till now, if you're still saying, let's try something different, or I love this, let's keep doing this, that, in my opinion, no doubt, so much less doubt than someone who thinks is a chore. Maki is a bit of a chore sometimes, but that's about it. Solid win. There are ups and downs, but when you come out of the day, you're saying, I can do this for the rest of my life still, like for the temporarily, temporarily you can say, oh, I can just keep doing this for the foreseeable future. In my opinion, that's the win. Enjoyment is definitely the biggest factor for you. That's awesome, powerful, limitless, in my opinion. Some people, the most common comment I get a lot of times is like, how can you study for 9 hours straight? And the most comments that I've ever gotten is like, dude, did you just stay on Duolingo for 10 hours? I'm like, yeah, but I'm not doing the same thing for 10 hours. Like, so it's a projection. Basically, people say they're thinking about all the things that make it boring for them, instead of asking, how or why is it not boring for me, right? And the answer might be something they might not consider. one of the literal answers is because I'm not doing the same thing for 10 hours. I mean, Duolingo might be on the screen, right? Duolingo might be on the screen, but you didn't really imagine what I was doing in the 10 hours. Like, what am I doing now? When someone comes on and they say, yo, you were on WaniKani for 4 hours, I can barely get through 1 hour reviews, and that takes like 100 reviews. And you're spending 4 hours on like 100 reviews. What are you doing? It's like, boy, do I have some stuff to tell you. I was having a great conversation with Stefan, and they don't even use WaniKani. That's there are people who would get upset right now and say like, dude, you're never gonna be like yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, someone said you'll never get fluent if you digress, right? If you digress and talk to people about language learning. Like, well, let's think about this for a moment. Every conversation I have with another person who's learning a language, I'm exchanging ideas, I'm forming memories, I'm forming sentimentalism. If you do not form that, quitting is more likely than not. Again, there's some balance, right? There's due diligence. You don't want to be distracted all the time. We're not talking about all or none. We're talking about some. So I share my experience online because it gives me motivation. I love hearing other people's successes, and I love exchanging points of insecurity and security, like you mentioned here, because that gives clarity. It provides solace in understanding and catharsis, and possibly even, dare I say, problem solving and critical thinking. So what keeps a smile on my face is to know that I can tell you all of the crazy, overcomplicated things that I have had fun trying to do while learning Japanese as a side product. Like, I'm learning something, you know, maybe not fluency or what have you, but I'm learning something about 3 languages. The question is, does it beat someone who's doing nothing in the language? Well, I would like to say it's a win in my point, but I also get to remember all the people that I met along the way. And that to me is something when someone says, oh, I like the process of learning, you like the journey of language learning. It's like, well, I do too. It just happens that my journey involves conversation with all the people that I meet along the way, and not held up in the fortress of solitude, you know. I'm not saying I'm Superman. Sorry, that's a kind of a narcissistic. In my Batcave, no, I'm not even as distraught as Batman, but you know what I mean. In your room alone, not having the context or the empathy with other people who are learning a language. I actually quite understand their insecurities, largely because I interact with other people. You started streaming a bit recently too. You should do it more for sure. I absolutely love talking to people. It's so wonderful. I know it can distract you from your learning a thing, so there's some discipline involved. I stream because I want to interact with other people. It gives you such wonderful motivation. If at all, those people could be your next language learning partner. Like, what I mean is people who would throw it back. So this is going back to the very first comment you made. I like that you took the initiative to share something that you find that's interesting. I might come off as a little bit direct a lot of times, but that's because we're in the mood of studying. But that's your initiative illustrates the whole point, where you said something that's interesting to yourself, and overall, here we are an hour later, right? Yes. Here we are an hour later. An hour and a half later. But yes, I do appreciate you sticking around for that. All right, let's see if I can remember. Koichi. Yeah. I hope I'm not taking you from your studies in some way. So thought I slyingly remind you of the time. Hopefully you're not being kept from something else. It does happen quite often. I talked to whoever the random person like stops by. It'd be like a 4 hour discussion. So you're just chilling. All right, you're just chilling. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Let's try to lock back in. So what would we have here? We have doing plus return plus she. I see. Hmm. Oh, no, that's not return. That's the wrong thing. This is not return. This is wing. It's not return. To some extent. Oh, wait, is it? Oh, no, this is return. This is. So, how do I combine return with area? Because area is... Oh, yes, this is a... Oh, this is a special one. That's why it's tough. I'm gonna write this down. You're returning the favor by doing something. And in not the greatest way. It's revenge. Getting even, getting back at, retaliation. When you return the doing of another. You probably do need... Oh yeah, that's right. Danish. Right. Danish. Yeah, definitely sleep well. 勉強. Yeah. ありがとう。ありがとう. I would love for you to meet this Belgian that I know. This Belgian that I know to 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 chat up. That person's also learning Japanese, and he's a father figure. But anyways, more on that later. He's still on vacation. He's like hanging out in the ocean somewhere, I think. Still, but sometime later. またね, right? またね. おやすみなさい. Yeah, you'll probably. Oyasumi nasai. Stefan son. Good night. Rest well. Really appreciate it. Let's see. So, revenge is kind of a weak one. We'll add this to the list of Anshon. Okay. 悪人。
悪人、
悪人。One? I think that's Moji. So mochi. This is literally oh man, this is special too. What type of reads do I have? I definitely could use moji here. And then then I can use the kunyomi. Yes, the kunyomi. So yeah. Um yeah, this one's weak. I have all the special cases stacked up today. So what do we have? I guess we have writing plus character plus pass through plus a D. And I'm missing this is literally, I think. And I'm missing the kun. The kun for as I have susuri. Oh, susu, that sounds too many. Sounds weird. What else can I go off of? I could go off something about character. What happens when you? No, this is the one where I have to remember the kun. And if I don't, then we're just mind borked. I think. Are we borked? Oh wait. Pass is with so that's kun, so it's got to be rendaku. So moji dori. Moji dori. And it means literal or literally or something like that. Yes. So one of the weak ones, moji, and then dori. Oh is weak here. Dori. I should have thought about it as tori. Just tori. How did I explain this actually? Remember how you learned the word moji and tori? Well, an avenue, that's fair enough. An avenue made of letters is literally to the letter. Wink. It's okay. I think the other one's kind of weak, so we'll... Special cases. Gotta reinforce special cases. Gather. Focus. This is actually to focus, which is ironic.
集中する
You choose it. Or to concentrate.
ちょうどいい
Chodoi. Wait. Just right. Just right.
負け犬
Makeinu. Oh. Kidding. Kidding. Yeah? How does this what was me? I'm drawing a space on an obvious one? Oh no. Oh no. It's fine. This is fine. We're good.
推進
Rishi.
乗り物
楽器
Yaki.
新た
Arata. How the heck do I know it's Arata? Oh, right, a raw steak. Whoops. Not that. Stop thinking that. It's not that. Don't do it.
疲れ
Got it.
指先
Yubisaki. 'Heck. Heck. Oh.
Okujo
Okujo.
Bunsho
Buncho. Uh.
Choumin
Chomi.
彼
Got it.
Shigoto
Shingoto. Alright, time for our lessons. Let's get into it. We got a blitz. What time is it? Yeah, we got a blitz a little here. Okay, so what do we have? Imagine image. So imagine image. Sozo. Sozo suru. Really?
想像する
Sozo suru.
想像
想像する
To imagine image. To imagine. Okay. Mondai. Mondai is fine.
問題
Mondai. Moving right along. Feeling? Oh, that feeling. Now we got reinforcement for feeling. What is this one? Han. Right? Han. No, Gan. Gan. Is this Kan? Nice. Kan. We're fine with this. I don't even think. Oh, we do want to. Well, Khan is probably Genghis Khan, right? Yeah, Khan. That's fine. Reinforcement from Chinese. A doubt. Interesting. Add problem to it. Mon. So what do we have here? Ain't no way this is Gimon. No, Gimon sounds weird.
疑問
Gimon really.
疑問
疑問
Okay, it kind of sounds weird. Gimon. All right, sumo wrestler, power soldier or power samurai. Yeah, sumo. All right, I'm okay with that. It's probably Riki. In this case, right? Rikishi, maybe
力士
Rikishi or Rikishi. Rikishi. That's fine.
力士
Rikishi makes sense. Rikishi.
力士
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Oops.
問題
We have some legacy here. Definitely some legacy.
想像する
想像する
力士
力士
疑問
疑問All right, next one. Expectation before imagination. Beforehand imagine, yeah. If you consider the future beforehand and imagine, then you have expectations and predictions. This does line up with another expectation as well, in a way. Okay, let's go with yo. Yoso. Yoso.
予想
Yoso.
予想
Yoso. That's fine. Expectations beforehand, imagine. Okay. Reminiscence. Kaiso. Kaiso. It could be Kaiso.
階層
Kaiso.
階層
Kaiso. Practice. No. Does not line up. Instead of Lian or Lian. Lian. Oh, unless it's simplified. No, that's not a simplified character. Lian would be the closest here. So this is Ren. Yeah, Ren Shu is the Ren Shu. Do I need a mnemonic? Then for rentals. You'll do all this practice to try and afford all of your rentals. One day all this practice will pay off for all your rentals. Pointing a thread to the east is what you practice every day. Interesting. You're incredibly passionate about eastward thread pointing, so you make sure to practice every day. And with all that practice pointing to the east, you can afford all of your rentals. All right, that's fine. Everything in your life is a rental, so you better get to practicing. Right? Ideology. To think, imagine. Ideology, all right. What was our think one? Most of it is Kun. Unless they swap it up. Yeah, I'm not sure.
思想
Shiso. Pretty sure you haven't learned. Yeah, I haven't learned the onyomi for this yet. That would explain it. Yeah, so all your thoughts and ideas are about sheep right now. Okay, of course. Sheep comes back. You just can't stop thinking about sheep. Alright. Shiso. Actually, maybe I have. Nope, just kidding. Omo everything. Everything's omo. Okay. Shiso. Sometimes it's not accurate that we haven't learned something. It's an oversight sometimes.
思想
思想
Oh. Okay. What do we think about sheep? All for it. Pretty strong. And then ore.
俺
Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Oops. That is not how that works. Wait. Yeah. That's not how that works.
海藻
Kaiso. Wait, how did this work? Revolve? Thinking? I don't actually remember. Did I skip this one? I don't think so. Oh, it got refreshed because I clicked on the thing. So let me guess what this is. Yeah, because I clicked on this is a WaniKani site problem. So because I clicked on the composition and I went back, it interleave. So the interleave, it triggers interleave. So this was not something I just recently looked at. So let's think about this. Return imagine. Maybe like reimagine. It's not. What is this one? Reminisce? Oh, that's fine. Recollect. Recollection. That's pretty good. I like it. I like it. I mean, reminiscing is also reimagined, but it's a lot looser. That's okay. And maybe I can't spell reminisce. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh my gosh, I can't. Oh, reminisce. Oh wait, reminisce. Reminisce has. And then Kaiso, yeah. Reminiscence. Oh, that's reminiscence. How do you do? I guess you just cut off this part, right? Oh, it's 2 eyes. Yeah, 2 eyes. Okay.
予想
So I'll just wing it. Did this interleave.
思想
She saw
俺
what it. Okay. Or at least I might have skipped it instead. Maybe I might have skipped it. I don't know. Ore tachi. Ore tachi is fine. Which is meaning we.
俺たち
Ore tachi.
俺たち
Yeah, ore tachi. Okay. Fee. Fee and gold put together. Nice. Maybe
料
Yokin.
金
Yokin.
料金
Okay. Eki. They might go straight to Eki. Yep. Perhaps a key. Checks out. Kurai.
暗い
Yep, Kurai. Do I need to worry about this? Kula. Kura is pretty good though. Cooler. Kurai. That's fine. Moving right along. Memorization. Oh. It uses this character. Interesting. Anji.
暗記
Anki. Whoops, this is key. My bad. Anki.
暗記
暗記
Chinese. Anki. Which makes sense because that's I'm guessing this is what Anki is. The platform Anki was the inspiration. I mean, that's how I'm gonna remember it. What does Anki help you with in memorization?
料金
Yoki.
俺たち
Oretachi.
暗記
Anki. Oops. Ah!
暗い
Kurai. Kurai. Okay. Alright. Alright. How many lessons do we have? Not that many on second peak day. Only 25. That's less than the usual peak day. Interesting. In Sama.
様
Sama.
Sama.
We're moving on. Sama. Goal. Ooh, this is an this is a body part. That can be different. If it's not mokuhyo, mokhyo, it could be mokhyo.
目標
Yeah, mokhyo.
目標
Okay, mokuhyo if you want to go that way. Okay. And then container. Oh, this is container? Really? Well, I do see some goods. To some extent, multiple goods. And big goods. Big products need to be put in a big container. A small container just won't do. Alright. Vessel, tool, okay. And then key? Yep, key. Like Denkia. Denkia, electronic store. This is the second character. Denkia. Probably. Am I gonna get it? No. Oh, interesting. Got key. Music container. Or music vessel. Yeah, key. Once you get the big products into a container, you then lock it up with a key. Solid. Very solid. Wait. Zenzen. Zenzen, yeah, entirely. Not at all. Oh, in the opposite. If it's negated, then it means not at all. Yeah. This word is weird. It can mean two opposites depending on what kind of yeah. If it's a negative word, then it's not at all. It's either entirely or not at all. It's because of the context of the sentence. If it's a negative sentence.
全然
Zenzen.
全然
Cue the millionth time Zenzen was played off of the Your Name video. Your Name movie. Zenzen. Natural. Yep, natural. I guess this is Tolzen.
当然
当
Tolzen.
然
Natural. So right by its very nature is natural and obvious. Yeah, this is still nature. So nature. nature. Still natural.
当然
Tolzen.
当然
Alright, we're good. Okay.
様
Sama. That's fine.
目標
Mokuhyo. What's this? Oh, I wasn't even paying attention. What the heck did I and signpost mean? Still signpost? And hold up. Oh, the goal. Oh, that kind of makes sense. Eye on the signpost you have your eye on is your goal and target. Okay.
全然
当然
Oh, yeah. That's right. The nature as in the nature of someone. Or, oh, you can also use it as natural. Okay. I didn't realize you can also use it as natural. Okay, yeah. To find yourself's true nature, go out into nature, yeah.
自然
Shizen. Oh, it's different. No G. Just Shi. Ishigo, which usually means if you know the reading of your kanji, you'll know that it is read. Wait, except it undoes it. That is because you add the little dakuten you are adding to the shi. When it has no Docten, it is the form that nature intended. Interesting.
自然
自然
Shizen, yeah, that makes sense. That sounds more familiar. Shizen. Poem. Does it retain? I would be surprised if this retains she.
し
It does. Interesting. Isn't she the on? Interesting. I would have thought of like uta. Maybe there's a special case, but interesting. Okay, heat. Makes sense. Ra. Ra is heat. The womb spins in a circle and starts to boil with heat. Uh-oh, I think you have a fever. Ah, okay. Even if you don't have just picture one anyways. Ra. Maybe just da. No, netsu. They went straight to netsu. Oh, that's considered onyomi. Oh, interesting. Netsu is onyomi. The heat from your fever is making your insides and your head and your entire body spin and boil until your doctor throws some netsu around you. You are feeling around and oh, okay. Netsu. Can I? Oh, that netsu. Netsu. Very nice. Atsui, right? Yes, Atsui. Junetsu. Passion. Feeling heat. Passion. Yeah. I got you. Netsu, okay. Yeah. Jijin? There's no way it's Jijin, right? Oh my god, Jijin sounds... Or Jinen. Jinen sounds a little bit less Jijin.
詩人
Oh my, it's back to Shi. Shijin. Oh yeah, not Jijin. Shishin. Shijin.
詩
詩人
Yeah, okay, Shijin.
詩人
That's fine. I guess we'll do something with like poets wear jeans. I don't know. And then poetry. What was the onyomi for song? Shiso.
鹿
Shika. Oh. This is Jukoko, which means you use onyomi. You know these reads, but there's usually an extra E in the middle. Don't worry, shika is totally fine. But shika is more common. You got this. Oh, right. I knew the onyomi for this. Car. They're singing in the car. Right. Shika.
鹿
シーカ
Inter-
シカ
Interesting. Shika. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Now let's see if I remember any of this. It's gone. Oh, meaning. Oh my. It's just gonna go straight. Why is it doing double meaning? Oh, because I didn't refresh it. Oh, so
自然
then. Can you stop starting with the meaning? Oh my gosh, dude.
"詩人
シーカ
Chica. Ash. Prize. That makes sense. Prize of gold is so old
賞
fashioned.
金
Choking. Yep. Choking.
賞金
Um, Erabu, right? This is erabu.
選ぶ
選ぶ
You have the opportunity to choose. You choose, and a bright sign lights up reading error. Erabu, era. Erabu, oh my gosh, error. Sure. Erabu. That's legacy for ya. Erabu. Section. Fruit and say. I always say the fruit section at the grocery store should be at the front of the store. Well, it kind of is, honestly. It's the... Oh, yeah, okay. It's the perfect place for the fruit section, I say. Think about it. Every grocery store has a fruit section right at the front. When you say, well, it typically is, actually. Or locally. Get to the fruit section, you have to go to the store. To get to the store, you have to drive a car. Okay. Okay, I got you. I think that's good enough, actually. Is there a section? Really? Kacho. Alright. Pro athlete. Okay. Senshu.
選手
Senshu. Senshu.
選手
選手
Yeah, senshu. And then this is still Kagami. Yeah. Okay. Oops. Heckin meaning first.
賞金
Okay.
選ぶ
Erabu. I can't spell athlete. I don't want to talk about it. Meanings first. Why?
鏡
Kagami. Oh my.
選手
Senshu. Okay. As much as you want. How does that work out? Release topic. Oh my gosh, this one's weird. Yeah, just release the topic. Let it go free. Let it do whatever it wants. Sometimes the topic will be food. If that's the case, just release yourself and do whatever you want with the food. Eat it all. If it's drinks, drink it all. This word has to with doing with whatever you want and as much as you'll see this attached to all you can words. Yeah. Okay. Release the topic. Let it go free. Okay, all you can. Alright, I got you. And where are we going with this? All die.
放題
放題
Okay. All die. A topic. Talking topic. It's a topic. Okay, I got you. Or subject. Not that type of subject, but a different type of subject. Different from the other subject. And wadai. That sounds weird.
話題
Wadai, really? Interesting. Wadai. Foster. Alright. We have a sheep. Oh! Chun? Chun is foster? Oh, no. Young. Young. Oh, foster makes sense. Young. To raise. To foster. I'm gonna write raise. Or maybe like nurture. Raise. Foster. Care for. Wait, say young? Ain't no way. It's something close to young. It's something really different. Yo, and it's close enough. Oh, sheep and yogurt again? Nice. Sheep fins are good for fostering children. The sheep have been genetically combined with fish, so the sheep has... Alright. The best way to foster a better relationship with those foster kids would be to give them some yogurt. Maybe they can dip the sheep fins in the yogurt. Okay. Yoko. Oh, Yoshi. Oh, that's what Yoshi. Oh. Right. Ko is something. It's a different use, but Yoshi. I have these don't have a point of reference, so. Arrangements. Ooh, organized gets a use now. Right, that's right. So, what do we have? Seiri? Maybe. Arrange. So, when you arrange something according to reason, the result is an arrangement. Sorting. It's okay.
整理
Seiri.
整理
Fair enough. Gakumon? Could be Gakumon. Yeah, Gakumon.
学問
Gakumon.
学問
Okay. Alright. Heck. Meanings first.
Hodai
Hold tight. I didn't pay attention to what this was. I don't know what they were going for. Oh, schooling. Okay, learning, study. Okay. All right, that kind of makes sense, sort of. Okay. Yeah, it kind of goes off of homework in Chinese too, like schoolwork and whatnot. It's about doing the task, solving problems by studying the problems. So learning, schooling makes sense. What are we doing? That's fine. That's close enough. We're doing reads.
話題
Wadai. Problem solving, basically. Problem solving is schooling, right? At least that's
整
what
理
I think about. Eri.
学問
Umon. Assumption. Determine, imagine, and determine. Yep. Imagine, determine, assumption, and expectation. Yes. Again. I think this is our fourth assumption, expectation kind of thing. Or presumption is somewhere in there somewhere. When you imagine something that's somewhat determined, that means you have already sort of assumption or sort of made an assumption or expectation about it. Or have some sort of assumption. Yeah, okay.
想定
Solte. That's fine.
そ
想定
Solte. Okay. We have king plus how does this work? Oh, king sama. Oh, O-sama. Did it get shortened?
王様
No,
王
O-sama.
様
Okay, it's fine. Feelings make sense. That's feeling. Qing. Soul is blue, as in it's sad and not feeling well. This is because your soul color changed during on your feeling or what emotions you're expressing. Or green or blue. Qing. I'm gonna go with. Oh, we saw this earlier, right? What was it? Shu? Oh, Ju. Jo. No, Jo. When your soul is feeling blue, why is your soul feeling blue? Because Jo, the local fireman, was extremely mean to you. Okay, fair enough. There's a returning character. Jo. Yeah. Kami-sama.
神様
神様
Makes sense. Special selection. Special choice. Choose. Special selection. Special choice. Special prize. Fair enough. And special toku? Ne? No. Yes, toku. Tokuzen.
特選
Toksen. Oh, going up. Toksen. Yeah, and then we can.
特選
That's right. It could end up Tosen, but Toksen. Okay. All right. We're good. Pretty standard stuff.
Osama
Awesome. The read. Oh, the read. Okay.
特選
Toksen.
神様
Kami-sama.
想定
Sote. Okay. Oh, that's it. Man, these things are short now because we have so much foundational things now. You can kind of reason your way around stuff, and then of course we're missing the 5 that got moved. That's okay. All right, so let's go over our mnemonics. These ones are okay, right? So, hand, shrimp, idea, womb, circle, east, bookshelf, good, original, soul, body, fruits, 100, creeper, and root. And then we have to go over our mnemonics here. So, kan. Here we have east thread, lots of rentals. And then how the heck did Eki work? A key. We're gonna come back to that. Fruit and word, or fruit and say. This supposed to be car. Key. Yogurt. Joe. I mean, oh, nets. Okay. Yep. That's fine. Let's do our reads. Okay. So, ore, mon, so, kan, se, an. Ama, ashi, midori, ren. I'm getting stuck on this a little bit. Shi. In. Dai. An. Eki. Ki. Shi. Ryo. Yo. Tatsu. Zen. Netsu. Ka. Jo. Then. Kagami. Yo. Yo. Ki. Mina. Minna. Alright, and we actually have 4 things. On things. Was it honmono? Honmono. Honmono. And we're trying to... How do I do this? The book is the genuine thing, which is a real thing, I guess. Real thing or a genuine article. So I got for that. And then I lost low is fine. But we gotta get really low instead. How do I work on this? Not too much can go about this. Just have to remember. Our linker, our only linker is sete, no? Saite. Oh, it's just saite. Saite, which is lowest. That's fine, I suppose. And doing return sheet. So doing she and she. So shikaishi. So it's more like returning something done. And I'm gonna use this as a crappy thing. So it's a crappy thing. You're returning a crappy thing that's done, which is revenge. Euphemism, she. So revenge.
That's probably what we're going to add for that. And then writing character pass through. Writing character pass through plus ri. So, writing character pass through ri. So this is multi rendaku mojidori. Just literal. This was fine. It took a little bit because this was the weak thing. So tori, literally tori is here as a reinforcement, which is avenue, which I left out. All right. Yeah, we had a very great discussion today. I genuinely could talk for hours with other people about the way they're going about learning Japanese. I think that's what I'm going to emphasize in the future. I think I have a much more clearer understanding of how I'm going to communicate with other people, or what I look for in discussions, right? It's about what people do and how people are doing it and why people are doing it, not for the sake of comparison. Like, I think comparative effectiveness takes a juxtaposition that deals with something that's superior and inferior, and I don't want to do comparisons. I think I'm straying away from comparisons as much as I can. So whenever someone drops in and say this is better and that's worse, I will probably be very frank about it. I will be far more direct and say, well, does it work? Is it sufficient? So the answer is, if it's sufficient and they're both sufficient, then let's talk about it. Let's exchange ideas about it. But if they forcefully say something that's better, a waste of time, then we really have reached a empathetic impasse. I think empathy is not established by superseding something. So oftentimes the conversations I will continue and push for more conversation when there's emotional intelligence and empathy. And one of the key signs of a lack of empathy is largely when someone sidelines and trivializes another approach because it's quote unquote better or worse comparatively. But that is not taking into consideration methodology. It's taking into consideration results. So that's probably why me and Stefan had quite a wonderful conversation, because regardless of the results or the efficiency, in both cases is sufficient to keep us both very energetic and motivated and enthusiastic about language learning. I think there is enough things to make objectivity be an inherent bane for lifestyle choices and life skill developments. And language learning is one of those life skills. Communication is too. So is emotional intelligence. But I believe those are far more complex in the sense of it's hard to quantify them as much as language, even though I would argue that language is also incredibly difficult to quantify, especially in natural language. However, it doesn't stop people from trying to objectify something that requires emotional intelligence. Talking to another person requires emotional intelligence, in my opinion, unless you so happen to meet another person who happens to be as emotionally optional as possible. I'm not one of them, so I'll probably make those intent quite clear early in the selection process or the conversation process. If one doesn't exercise emotional intelligence, then good for you, right? I hope you find pride and integrity for whatever you're doing, but I wouldn't want to share anything or openly answer any question when that other person does not exercise mutual emotional intelligence. That's probably where we're going to go from here on out. Lots of these conversations that are quite fruitful are really, really giving me the feedback that allows me to reform the way I interact and select for individuals. And of course, I'm in the process of looking for people to invest in a different way. Maybe in the next year or two, I'm looking for some professional arrangements, and I need to get a little bit more diligent and direct about these things. Anyways, there's a wrap for WaniKani today. If you're gonna watch this later, arigatou gozaimasu, right? So feel free to follow along. You can try WaniKani for free, right? For a month. Feel free, stop on by, exchange your experiences and ideas, right? Love to talk about them, much like today. Always welcome the occasional digression and sharing mutual emotional exchanges with the whole language learning process. It do be rewarding when you have a mutual exchange of generosity. So, for those who are only interested in Japanese, minasan mata ne. See you all next time. I'm gonna get up, stretch, take a bathroom break, and I'll be back for Hanzahiro. Thank you.